Okay, my friends, Roger once again, get ready. This is the grand alignment of evidence. We should have some experts here that can give me a determination one way or the other. Am I right or am I wrong? We have people here, like this guy here is a doctor, but he's also climbing mountains. And what is he climbing right here? I can tell you precisely what he's climbing, and I think he will understand what he's climbing when I make my claims and show my evidence. And the evidence is not just speculation, it's physical, material evidence. So let's go into this deeply, and like I say, we got professionals that are climbing on these rocks that I'm claiming are body parts. Let's see what they say. We'll go from there. All right, I'm just going to play this. Check this out. CBS News. And this is about a 77-year-old rock climber. But he's also a doctor. And he's climbing on the rocks that I claim are body parts. So maybe we can all sort of cooperate, because he wants people to find new hobbies. We'll go out and find out about reality.
He's maintained since his hip replacement at age 40.
For a couple of years, I was really in pain and I couldn't really move around well.
That must have been difficult for you.
It was horrible. But I had a great surgeon. It has enabled me to have, a life of hiking and biking and swimming and climbing.
Look at him climbing up these things. And these are sarcomeres, and I'll tell you what sarcomeres are in a minute.
What would you say to people who may be thinking about exploring a passion or taking up a new hobby?
You're never too old. For me,
You see this? These are sarcomeres. I'll show you these very, very carefully.
the satisfying thing is to pursue something that is a super challenge and to accomplish it. That is worth many fist bumps.
To accomplish it, yes. Yeah, that's the key. All right, so where is the doctor being interviewed by CBS in front of these rocks? Well, he's on this mountain wall, somewhere on this mountain wall, because this is the, I can't even pronounce the name, Shawangunk, something like that. And he's in front of these sarcomeres. And you see the red and you see the black right there, I believe. Somebody could go up here and look at it, but I can tell you, I know what these are. These are not just layers of sediment with it red inside of them. This is muscle sarcomeres. Those are muscles. These are muscle sarcomeres. And I'll show you he's sitting right in front of a major one right here. These blocks here. You see this? Block, 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 straight up. And then you have all this stuff here. This is the connective tissue. And there was bloody, gooey stuff in here that all runs down out. But when they break through the outside wall, you see all that red stuff. Now remember what you're seeing here. When they break through that wall, on the outside, you get into where the blood is. That's blood. Blood flushes these sarcomeres. You see these? They pull in and out like this. And here's what they look like in real life. Where is it? Here they are. It's right here. This is what happens. This is your muscle sarcomeres. And what we saw with him sitting in front of that stuff was these were eroded up, right up here, and they're sliding in and out because they're not just straight up. This is a relaxed picture with no really interaction of the muscles. But you see the red stuff runs out. And then it leaves all the zillions and bazillions of these little sarcomeres, mineralized connective tissue. All right, so here's where they're pinched in. See, now it's like almost all red-ish. Be fair, the red and the white was separated because one of them is just basically tendonish connective tissue, and they come together, but they're in blocks. And now I'll show you another couple shots that will prove that I'm telling you the truth about that. This is what they look like in your body. All right, they come in little strips, and I'm going to show you a closer shot. But this is what living muscle tissue works. It's skeletal muscle tissue. And there's blobs of red blood in between here. And those blobs of red blood service these red tissue layers so that you can do work. And it has to flow through there a lot because, when you're really doing work. So what do they look like in stone? Here it is right there. That's what these sarcomeres look like. And this was a fresh piece of muscle. The thing died, and the red blood that would have fed all this stuff sort of hang around in the middle there and turned into, iron oxides, because that's what blood is. And these are the sarcomeres. Now, he was sitting on one of those things, and they erode down these lines. And this is precisely, exactly what collapsed over in Turkey. The red blood ran out from underneath the sarcomeres, and the whole thing's collapsed. It was not an earthquake, it was a collapse. And that's because these were evacuated. Now, did somebody evacuate them to make tunnels in there or do something? I have no idea. But these will normally just run out. They'll just run out if they have a way to get out. This just got collected in here because it had no way to get out. And this is the surface up here. So don't forget, here he is sitting in amongst the sarcomeres that are sort of halfway engaged. Something like this up here. So we got a lot of thinking to do about these mountains. You see up there? That's blood, I'm telling you right now. And this is not something that's hard to understand. It just needs to be looked at with a more open mind. Because if it's true, it's true. I'm not trying to jar anybody's world. I'm just trying to understand reality and what it is actually consists of. And when they show things like this is just not true. It's not true at all. You say millions of years in one picture? No, it's not. That thing died, whatever it was, and I know exactly what this is right here. You see that round circle? And this big white line here? That's the center of a tendon. That's the center of a tendon. And these are all tendinous material that comes down because it attached to a muscle here. And I'm going to show you this because I have one here, same thing, not quite as big. And when this thing rocks on there, these things have to slide amongst themselves. There's little tiny slips of what they call leucine-rich proteins in here. And it depends on how they turn. But this is the pin that pins this thing in. And then the muscle attaches here. These go just a little bit, and they are tough as hell. That's the only reason that's still good. There was a bone here, and then there was a muscle here. I can show you the one I have in my shop. It's identical, same thing. All right, I think I showed you that little clip about the doctor being the rock climber. And they're showing, because he's elderly, 77 years old, and he's doing all this rock climbing, how amazing it is, and truly it is, because he's doing some serious stuff. But what tripped me off was he's a doctor, and he's getting close up and personal with rocks. So he's obviously either going to know exactly what I'm showing, or he's going to have access to somebody that's going to say, yeah, the guy's right or the guy's crazy. Now this is muscle, and these are muscle sarcomeres. That's exactly what it is. These are the little bundles of muscle that come out, and they have to attach to a tendon. Muscles attached to a tendon, which gives it the anchor into a bone. And there's a bone right here, which I'll show you in a second. Yet I call it abrupt transition, an abrupt transition, because it changes instantaneously from these red fibers. See this red fibers and all that? There's none here, none involved, almost none, zero. You don't need them here. This is just a spring. It's just a spring. It almost never goes bad. Well, they break. Sports injuries people would be out of business if it wasn't for it. But you really got to do some serious tugging at them to rip them out of and break them and so forth. Anyway, you see the difference in color? There's no color there. See all the red coming out of there? You need a ton of red blood to work these muscle bundles, because they pull in all the time. doing contractions. These aren't doing, no contraction here at all. It's just under tension. It's called 10 done, 10 shun. That's what it is. That's all this spring. It's a spring. Case closed. Doesn't need any of this energy stuff. These are bundles, and they break off out here. There's about 3 or 4 abrupt transitions. It starts here at 1, and I think out here is 2, right about in this area. And then there's a third one out here, and then I think maybe 1 more, and it's just then you're into really just continuous muscle. But it's a lot more mineralized here than it is out here. Just go with that. Now, this right here, this piece right here, is what was sticking up out of the ocean. That's all. And it still had a little red on the top, a lot of growth, really green growth on the top of it. All right, remember this? That's that red muscle, the red bloody stuff at the top. This is that bundle right down the center. You see the circle? Pay close attention to the details. You see all these little straps and stuff? They have to be there in order for this thing to flex like this, because it pivots on that pin. That pin is the lock that locks this into the bone. And I can show you this very, very, very clearly. And once again, don't forget, there's that main thing coming. There's the pin right there. You can't see it clearly here, but I can show you it is. This is it, and that's the rocks. When the muscle goes back and forth this way, and your arm goes back and forth, this has to do this, which means these have to go like this. It's very good, very nicely made. God does some good work. All right, so we got that, which is this. Now, let's look at where the bone actually implants. I got another one around here somewhere, shows up with the bone. Hold on a second. Okay, here it is. This is the bone. And that's where that ball, remember I showed you? This is it right here. So from here down is here down. Right, that's the abrupt transition. Then you go strictly tendon, which is here. And then there's like a glue that glues it, sort of, gummy glue that can bend and go this way and that way. But here's the 2 balls that hook together. You see it right there? That's this. It's like a pin. It pins it to the bone. And in the meantime, this can twist this way and this way, but it's on the pin itself. Very cool. All right. I showed you my muscle, and I'll show it to you again, the one I have in my shop. And you see the way these fibers are running back and forth here? That's not just erosion. There's no way that it's impossible. There's no way. They call it geological uplift and all kinds of crazy things to try to come up with, concoct a story to account for that. It's just all the red blood is run out here. The red blood runs out from the fibers. The fibers are the tough things. Same here, the red blood's running out. This is the back of the guy's van. Now people send me these pictures, I don't know, this is all over the out west. It's just everywhere. Now people are starting to see this stuff and they're freaking out. I'm like getting people every day to say, I can't believe it, what I missed my whole life. I've been driving down the street. Now I'm just in awe all day. And they are. And there are places you just can't help yourself. If you like this stuff, it's just, just pay attention to the road when you're driving, all right? All right, so I said there's a grand alignment. Well, what does that mean? All of a sudden I fell on this, Nira. This is all about the Shawangunk Ridge, which is what I was just showing you, where the doctor was climbing those mountains. And this is this area, and there's standing stones, and all of these different dolmens and things, they're millstones they're talking about. Well, so I will, obviously I go a little deeper, see, well, what are these people all about? All right, here's the doctor. Listen to what he has to say.
Solve the problem of getting to your endpoint. It is a very analytical process. The socialization, though, is really important.
All right, did you see those mountains? See where they're climbing? These are all these sarcomeres. And wherever you see red, there was a lot of blood there. And where plants grow, they're growing into those little arteries primarily. The red ones are in the primarily arteries. Now, the vein blood is a little different. It usually makes what they call lichen. Moss grows in red blood just fabulously, and lichen grows in black blood just fabulously. That's the white coating. And hold on a second. You see this? I'm not sure where this was. People send me all kinds of things. I don't have any. All I can tell you is here's what it is. And this is moss growing like crazy, obviously. And this is what I was telling you. Lichen is the white stuff. So there had to be arterial blood, which is here's the deal. Your iron oxides. They're both iron oxides. Blood is iron oxides. Well, what is the difference between iron oxides? One is Fe2O2, which means it's got two oxygens, which is this one. And then there's Fe2O3, which has three oxygens, which is the red one. And plants, apparently, they love the oxygen. It must be something to do with the extra oxygen, because that's the difference in the blood. And it's quite obvious. Now, I don't know what this is. This almost looks like tendon, but I really don't know. And I don't know where it's from. So, it is what it is. You see, this stuff makes me giggle. I can't help it. You see this wall here? This is just like somebody cut this down, but did a lousy job. But you're into the flesh. You're not just on the outside edge. It's like something fell off of there or whatever happened there. Virtually like cutting it, just like this one. It's the same thing. It's identical. And there's red stuff in there the same way, and all of these are these sarcomeres. Now, what I'm going to show you is this. Where is it? Where did you go? Here. You see, these are all the sarcomeres, and these are all those. These are huge, gigantic things. And you see the red coming out and the black? That's a vein in an artery. I believe this is the artery, and they make big holes. Veins don't usually blow out. They have clamps and they stay black, but they don't usually bleed out like the red does. The red is mushy and soft and runny and runs out, just like I showed you on the Muscle Mountain over here. Where is it? You see all the red stuff runs out here? This has still got a little blackish look to it, Wherever the vein blood is, it does not run like the red blood. It's a little different. Again, it's the chemistry. I think I showed you most of this stuff. And I want, like I say, I'd like to get involved in this. Well, actually, they have a conference coming up November 10th in Marlborough, Mass. I'd like to at least contact them and say, I got some information. What do you think? You see, this is lichen right here. All that white-looking stuff on there is lichen, and this over here is the red blood stuff. It's just a difference in the chemistry. And I have stones here that grow moss out of them where the red blood was. And it's 100% sandstone now, and they grow moss out of them. There's so much to think about now that it was just, everything was laughed at in the past. Here's some more mossy looking. I think these are muscle fibers. They could be tendons, but hard to say. Obviously biology. Of course, these are the things here. I think I might have shown you this. That's this right here. It's obviously a tissue layer. And they are layered. I mean, extremely layered. They're not even close to unlayered. They are very, very layered. You see this? Those are all layers, just like I was just showing you. And of course, that's the tendon. No color left to it whatsoever. And that's the pin right there. This whole pin pinned into the other part. And this is like glue. This is like a gluey substance so that it can rock. It's a very, very interesting design. So anyway, there's a lot to look at, and there's people right here in the general area that could go up and investigate this and look into this and see, what is this? Is that really an artery? And the other thing that can be looked at right here in Connecticut is Sleeping Giant. And there's tales exactly about him, what happened, and how he was poisoned by the Native Americans because he was not a nice guy. And he was so big that he stamped his foot on the edge of the Connecticut River and made it change its course. That's what the ancient texts say about it, I believe. And again, I'm not too skilled on that one. I tried looking as much as I could, but there's not much about it. But I can tell you, I can see Sleeping Giant. There's no question that was the Sleeping Giant. And you can actually see his ribs where they tried to extract all this trap rock, which is this basalts. And now you can see his ribs hanging over. I'm not kidding you. And there's red blood in it too. I suppose I have to show you, so I guess that's we'll do next. All right, there it is right there, Sleeping Giant. And it's been forever known that it was a sleeping giant. So people just sort of say, oh, it just looks like that. Well, maybe. Let's see what we can determine by looking at it in a critical eye. All right, check this out. This is a basic outline. The arms are just sort of melted away, and they had done a lot of excavation in here, taking out the trap rock. And what they left over was the second lung. The lung was the trap rock. Now, don't forget what we're looking at right here. I'm going to come in a little closer on this. I believe this leg came down this way and it came back up around, and his chest is here and the head is up here. This is his other leg here, and I think it's bent backwards or whatever. One of them sticking a little longer out than this one. Now, check this out. This is his chest. That's his chest. This is his lung. There was another one here they excavated right out. I'm not kidding you. They took it all out of here, and they were exploding and dynamiting this side, to take the stone out of here, and they said no, it's too much ecological damage. Look at this. Look now. Wait till you see this. This is the lung. This is literally the lung. And you see this here? This is literally the ribs. I believe these are the actual ribs. See them hanging over here? I'm not kidding you. And I found some spots like right there. You see that? That's blood. Now, somebody with a good drone could get up there and look at that. But this was his other chest lung. This one's gone. They took that out, and they did. They excavated this whole area for trap rock. I have trap rock right down the street from me. You see this? This is his leg coming down here. This is his body, and things grow nice and green in fleshy stuff. That's why it's growing nice and green up here. Why isn't it really, really green over here? They're right on top of dead bodies. Things grow like crazy. I think the Native Americans always used to throw a fish in the hole where they planted their food, and it would make them grow like crazy. So this is not just a joke. This was Hobbomock, who was the giant from right where I live, basically right where I live. And it was just, he had a pretty good sized stomach. You know, you can make it out if you take your time and look. His head is up in here. He looked like a bulky looking guy. I mean, that chest is just gigantic. And the other one, they just made building material out of it. All right, this is this Nera, and that's what this fellow was talking about, this guy here, about the Shawangunk Stone Mysteries. And this was from their conference back in the spring. Well, apparently they have another one coming up the 10th of November in Marlborough, Mass. And they're talking about, you know, sharing. Everybody gets together. Our semi-annual meetings provide opportunities, sharing research, and so forth. And so I'm kind of interested in this. They have new leadership up there. I don't know what this is the first time I've ever heard of them. But if they're really interested in all of this New England area stuff, they have people all over the place here that probably have access to all kinds of things. They seem to have a nice little group. They get together and they discuss things. And they're working with the indigenous peoples, all the ancient histories of the land. What did they say? Why are these things built? What is this all about? And again, they're showing information, about the past, and real information, not just something that's made up. So I'm sort of hopeful that this stuff will become open and understood. I'm going to try to get a hold of Glenn Kreisberg and mention that I have some information. But give him a thumbs up. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more on the giant because I think I missed his chest so that you can see his chest. Don't forget, I think these are the legs back up towards his butt and this leg comes up this way. This really is his belly. And this is one chest section left. The other one they mined off of here. They took that out. They blew it up, and they were blowing this up to try to take it out too. Now this is his lung. This is his lung. Here's his head up here. You see the head right up here? And I think that's actually almost like you can see down a little tube almost into his throat. But this is his chest. This guy was huge and bulky looking thing. And the other one, again, they took this one out and they mined it out of here, and they were doing the same thing here, but they stopped them from continuing. Now look at this. These, I believe, are actually the ribs. You see them hanging over here? And they blew out the lung from underneath. Now there's a couple of spots I found that I believe there's blood there. Here it is right here. You see that right there? Whoops. I believe that is actually literally blood. Right there. And I believe these are the ribs. They're hanging over. And I think that's his chest. Right there, that's his chest. Here's his head. And the other part of his chest, they used it to make the buildings and so forth in the area. And here he is. It's all written about in the ancient text. It was not something that was hidden. He was called Hobbomock. All right, this was very, very good. This is the Legend of Hobbomock, the Sleeping Giant, stills animation from 2018. And it's Omicron World Entertainment, LLC. Very nicely done. It's simple, but very easy to understand. And they talk about, he was a stone giant, and he didn't get along with the humans. And they finally gave him a potion and put him to sleep so he could rest forever. But he helped humans, and the humans turned against the land and didn't do what they were supposed to do. So he is supposedly coming back to punish them. And there's this young kid goes into the woods as he's growing up, and he runs into him, and he's told, "You guys are in trouble." So the stone giant's trying to get after him. Now they call him a stone giant. He was not a stone giant. He turned to stone. That's my interpretation. I could be wrong. But this is very, very good. They show him as a stone giant coming and trying to destroy the humans for destroying the earth. And they say he's going to come back sooner or later. And I tell you, we've been destroying the earth. Sure enough about that.